computer. Okay, so I do have a nice bio that you sent me, but I would like you to do it personally. Tell me your beginnings. How did you come to Krishna consciousness? What happened to you?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. First of all, I'm very, very delighted and happy to see you face to face virtually. And out of many people I admire musically in this world, you're one of them. I have very high regard for your music and for your melodious kirtans. So it means a lot to me to be here. As far as my coming to Krishna consciousness is concerned, there's only one word, and that's mercy. Because I was about 2 years old when my parents became Krishna conscious, and they were initiated by Sripad Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, very beloved disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And I just grew up at his lotus feet.
Well, that's a nice bio. Doesn't say much about your accomplishments. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit of your history. I can read what you said, but you wrote it, so I'm sure you know it too. Just
it's I don't know what to say. I am initiated by His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj, and Maharaj instructed me to speak Srimad Bhagavatam in the English language in the Western world. And he told me that many of his disciples and followers, they mainly speak Hindi. But he told me that since you speak English, I want you to speak Bhagavatam in English. And he told me to keep his God brothers happy. So I have an opportunity now to please all of you. That's all. There's nothing much about me.
Okay, please take it away. Take us back to the spiritual world.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Is it possible if I could get the co-host rights, Prabhuji, just in case if I have to screen share?
Yes, you can. If I can figure out how to do it, because advanced sharing option, is that what I should do?
Is it possible maybe to click my name and make co-host? Is that possible?
Okay. Make host. All right, there you go.
Yes, that would work. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I see so many superiors here on the call, loving, well-wishing superiors. I feel very touched by the affectionate invitation that Sarvatma Prabhu offered. And at the same time, I feel very nervous to speak in front of my superiors. So many loving superiors, Vaishnavas are present here. I see Apurva Prabhu and Kamalini Mataji. Very loving, well-wishing superiors. So I beg their blessings and the blessings of so many wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I really apologize for coming a little late. There was a sudden emergency because of which I had to step out, and I got a little late to come back home. But thank you, Sarvatma Prabhu, for allowing that, and thank you for blessing us with that very melodious kirtan. So today I would like to speak little on a specific verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I would like to screen share. I hope everyone's able to see the screen. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 39, Text 27. I'm going to, I hope we're all able to see this. This is Canto 10, Chapter 39, Text 27 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Anardha dhire shasamastito ratham tam manvamicha tvarayanti durmadaha gopa anobhe sthavirairupekshitam daivam chanodya pratikulamihate anardha dhire samasthito ratham tam manvami cha tvarayanti durmadaha gopa anobhi sthavirairupekshitam daivam chanodya pratikulamihate. Translation and purport by the loving disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: hard-hearted Krishna has already mounted the chariot, and now the foolish cowherds are hurrying after him in their bullock carts. Even the elders are saying nothing to stop him. Today, fate is working against us. So this is spoken by the gopis of Vrindavan in their loving attachment to Krishna, where they are saying, they are calling Krishna hard-hearted, and we will talk about that during the discussion. So I'll read this once more. The gopis are speaking. Hard-hearted Krishna has already mounted the chariot. This is the chariot of Akrura. And now the foolish cowherds are hurrying after him in their bullock carts. Even the elders are saying nothing to stop him. Today, fate is working against us. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami reveals what the gopis thought. These foolish cowherd men and elders are not even trying to stop Krishna. Don't they realize they are committing suicide? They are helping Krishna go to Mathura. But they will have to come back to Vrindavan and will certainly die in his absence. The whole world has become nonsensical. This is the Bhavartha Deepika commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami. So this is the verse that I thought of reciting and sharing a few thoughts on today. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Tamadi Devam Karunanidhanam Tamala Suhitavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Setum Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. The Padma Puran describes that if this material world is an ocean of suffering, then studying and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is practically the only bridge which can take us to the spiritual world. This Srimad Bhagavatam, which has 12 cantos, we can see the 10th canto is compared to the smiling face of Krishna, while the first 2 cantos represent the 2 lotus feet. In some commentaries, you can see the description goes as the 10th canto being compared to the heart of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is the body of Krishna. The first 2 cantos are the lotus feet. The 10th canto is the smiling face or the heartbeat of the body of Krishna. Now, this 10th canto has many songs. Chapter 21 is called as the Venu Geet. Chapter 31 is called as the Gopi Geet. Chapter 35 is called as the Yugal Geet. Chapter 47 is called as the Bhramar Geet. And this chapter, chapter 39, is called as the Viraha Geet. These are considered to be the 5 life airs of the 10th canto. According to yoga, we may have heard that there are 5 life airs in the body. Even Srila Prabhupada talks about that in the purport. And if the Srimad Bhagavatam is the body of Krishna and the 10th canto is the heart, then these 5 chapters are considered to be the 5 life airs. What is common in these 5 chapters? Chapter 21, chapter 31, chapter 35, chapter 39, and chapter 47. What is common in all these 5 chapters is that all of them have been sung by the gopis of Vrindavan, who are the greatest devotees of the Lord. And all of them have been sung in separation. Chapter 21 has been sung in separation from Krishna, when Krishna goes into the forest and the gopis are at home in the villages. Chapter 31 is also sung in separation when Krishna leaves the gopis in the middle of the Rasa Leela, and Krishna leaves, and then the gopis trying to find Krishna come to the banks of the Yamuna, and they sing the very famous Gopi Geet. That's also in separation. Chapter 35 is also in separation. After the Rasa Leela, Krishna goes into the forest, taking his cows, and the gopis are at home doing their daily chores every day. And now, after singing and dancing with Krishna, they feel more separation than before. So that's chapter 35. Chapter 47 is when Uddhava comes to Vrindavan, and Radharani is expressing her feelings and pangs of separation from Krishna to a bumblebee. Therefore, 47 is called as Bhramar Geet. In Sanskrit, the word Bhramara means a bumblebee. One commentator to the Srimad Bhagavatam, he writes that this black bumblebee hovering over the pink lotus of Radha's feet is actually Sri Krishna himself, who has come in the form of a bumblebee only to taste the nectar of her words sung in separation. Therefore, chapter 47 is called as the Song of the Bumblebee. Srila Prabhupada translates very beautifully in English. And this chapter, chapter 39, is called as the Viraha Geet. It's fascinating. In Sanskrit, the word Viraha means separation. When all of these songs, all of these chapters are songs sung by the gopis in separation, why is it that only this chapter, chapter 39, is called as Viraha Geet, as the song of separation? It's because this is that point in Krishna Leela, in the narration of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, when Krishna is dragged out of Vrindavan by a great devotee called Akrura. In chapter 21, the gopis are feeling separation, but the good news is Krishna is going to come back. After taking the cows to the forest, he's going to come back to the village at sunset. So they feel separation during the day, but after sunset, they can sing and dance with him. So they meet Krishna after that song. In chapter 31, they sing the Gopi Geet, hearing the Gopi Geet. Yatte sujat charanam buruham sthaneshu bhita shanaid priyadadi mahikarakasheshu. After hearing the Gopi Geet, Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes Krishna returned. Tasam avirbhut shauri smayamana mukhambujam pitambaradhara shragvi sakshad manmatha manmatha. The Cupid of all Cupids, Sri Krishna, manifested in his most fascinating form in the presence of the gopis. So after chapter 21, after they sang that song, Krishna came back. At the end of chapter 31, Krishna came back. At the end of chapter 35, when they feel separation, Krishna comes back. In chapter 47, it's Krishna in the form of the bumblebee, flying from Mathura, coming to Vrindavan to hear the words of Srimati Radharani. But it is only this chapter, chapter 39, where the gopis are singing while seeing their Krishna being dragged out of Vrindavan by Akrura. So here the pangs of separation have skyrocketed. It's the zenith. They're crying and weeping in separation from Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami, in one book, he writes, in separation from Krishna, the trees of Vrindavan would have been burned to ashes by the fire of separation. But thank God they were kept alive by the ever-flowing tears of the gopis. The tears of the gopis watered the plants and the trees of Braj, who would have burnt to ashes by the fire of separation from Krishna. But who's going to help the gopis while they're burning in separation? This feeling of feeling separation in the heart and streaming tears from the eyes, expressed in the form of singing, is what manifested in this world as Harinam Sankirtan. Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana literally means we can see the gopis on the night of Sharad Purnima when they couldn't find Krishna. They were on the banks of Yamuna coming together, crying and weeping, feeling separation in the heart, tears from the eyes, and between the eyes and the heart are their lotus lips, which are uttering the names of Krishna. When the eyes, the throat, and the heart are in sync, this is called Sankirtan. When we are together with other like-minded devotees who are feeling separation from Krishna in the heart, and they're crying and weeping that apart from Krishna, I have no one. I don't want anything and anyone except Krishna. The heart is beating for Krishna. The eyes are watering for Krishna. And between the eyes and the heart are the lips which are uttering and the throat which are singing the holy names, sweet names of Krishna. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted. So Srila Rupa Goswami has written so much about the pangs of separation. There's actually a book called as Hamsa Duta, written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Anybody who wants to be happy should not read that book. I am being sarcastic here because ultimately we will feel happiness, no doubt. But Rupa Goswami has expressed severe pangs of separation from Krishna, the devastated state of Vrindavan after Krishna left, taken by Akrura. So this verse has been chanted in that song of chapter 39 of the 10th canto, where the gopis are feeling the pangs of separation. They are calling Akrura ill names. In Sanskrit, the word Akrura has a specific meaning. In Sanskrit, the word krura, krurata, or krura means cruelty, to be very cruel by nature. And when you have a syllable as a prefix before, it negates that meaning. So Akrura means not cruel. So the gopis are sarcastically laughing with each other and saying, what kind of name is this? He who is committing the greatest cruelty possible of taking Krishna away from us, his name is Akrura, he who's not cruel. If this is not cruelty, then what is cruelty? The gopis are begging at the lotus feet of Akrura, please don't do this. They are offering obeisances to the feet of the horse of Akrura, which are going to take the chariot ahead, taking Krishna and Balaram away from Vrindavan to Mathura. The gopis are feeling ultimate devastation and death because they feel that Kamsa is like Yamaraj and Akrura is like a Yamaduta, a messenger of the god of death. Akrura coming on a chariot is like the Yamadutas, the messenger of the god of death coming with their news. Krishna is like Paramatma, the Jivatma, and all the living beings around in Braj, they are the relatives. Vrindavan is the body. Krishna is the soul in a metaphorical sense. Krishna and Balaram are like the soul. Vrindavan is the body. And when the soul is taken out of the body, the relatives are crying, who are the Brajbasis, the gopis. But the Yamadutas don't care. They don't have any discussion. The Yamadutas don't sit and talk with the soul or with the body or with the relatives around. They just come, they do their duty and they go. You want to cry, you cry. You feel separation, you feel pain, that's your problem. That's how heartless the Yamadutas are, at least from the perspective of the relatives of the person who's departing. The gopis are seeing that Vrindavan is the body and Krishna is the heartbeat. Krishna is the life's force. Krishna is the soul. And the soul is being pulled out of the body. Krishna is being pulled out of the body of Vrindavan, while the relatives in the form of the Brajbasis, the Braja gopis are crying and weeping. But Akrura doesn't seem to have a change of heart. The gopis are calling Akrura as he who is very cruel. Now, the question that we can ask ourselves, is Akrura actually cruel? Akrura is not cruel. In the Padyavali, a compilation of verses by Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami explains, just like Parikshit Maharaj is the epitome, the highest, best example of hearing Krishna Katha, and Shukadev Goswami is the highest example of speaking Krishna Katha, Akrura is the best example of offering prayers in a devotional mood. Akrura is a very, very great devotee. He's a pure devotee. Then why are the gopis thinking that Akrura is hard-hearted? We have to understand the context. In Akrura's mind, Krishna is not the son of Nanda and Yashoda. Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva because Akrura is coming from Mathura. So he's convinced that Krishna is actually the child of Devaki and Vasudeva. And he knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada writes, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in all his books. So that we understand, every time we see Krishna, he's not a mere mortal, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Akrura knew this. He knew Krishna as the Supreme Lord. He has appeared as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And it was Vasudeva who got Krishna to Gokul. And now, Krishna has grown up. It's time to go back to the real parents and real home. He should go back to Mathura. Akrura is thinking in his mind, the Brajbasis better accept this inevitable fact that Krishna does not belong to them. Krishna belongs to Devaki and Vasudeva. Devaki and Vasudeva are in prison being tortured by Kamsa. If Krishna does not come now to help them, who will? And I told them I will bring Krishna. Krishna is their child. Why would Akrura tell the Brajbasis, especially Nanda and Yashoda, don't worry, O parents, I will bring Krishna back? He has no intention of bringing Krishna back. Akrura is thinking, Krishna, who is the son of Nanda and who's the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, he was kept for a few years here in Vrindavan, but his actual home is Mathura. His actual parents are Devaki and Vasudeva. He had to run with bird feathers on his head, barefoot, making folk music with a piece of bamboo, having fun in his childhood. Now he's grown up. It's time to be a Kshatriya. Krishna's not a Vaishya tending cows, please. He's a Kshatriya. He's born to Vasudeva Maharaj. It's time to work and fight and uproot demoniac forces on earth, starting with Kamsa. So Akrura can't relate to the love of the Brajbasis as the Brajbasis can't relate to the love of Akrura. Akrura saw Krishna and Balaram as Anantashesh and Narayana, Mahavishnu, in the Jamuna. And Akrura prayed. We can read this in the Krishna book. Akrura prayed. He had direct darshan of Krishna and Balaram as Mahavishnu and the serpent bed Ananta. So he has realized knowledge. Akrura is a pure Vaishnava. He has offered prayers. I bow down to you, O Krishna. You're the cause of all causes. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. It is from your navel that Brahma appeared, who created these universes. It's from your body, ultimately, the three modes of material nature spring. The demigods come from your body. And even the demigods, with all their senses and all their intellectual ability, they can't understand you. What to speak of the yogis who are sitting in meditation for lifetimes? They know you as the super soul. The Brahmanas perform yajna and worship you in so many forms. The Gyanis know you ultimately as the source of everything. And those with pure mind, they worship you in your form, according to the Vaishnava tradition. Those from the tantric schools, they also worship you in different ways. Different meditators are all approaching you. It's almost like different rivers flowing to the same ocean. Akrura is praying, my Lord, every living entity is ultimately trying to find you. You are the destination of all living beings. And at the same time, you are the witness sitting in their heart as Paramatma. You know everything inside out. The living entities, being your parts and parcels, they ultimately become human beings only to find you through devotion. Just like worms are there found in a fruit. They're living in a fruit, trying to find the fruit. That's what the worms do. They live in a fruit, in the pulp of the fruit, trying to find the fruit. Similarly, all living beings, all of us, Akrura is praying, we are all like worms living in the fruit of the creation of the Lord, trying to find him. Oh Krishna, Akrura prays. He's offering his prayers. You appear as Dashavatar, the 10 incarnations, so that devotees can sing your glories and escape material nature. Those who think that they can be happy in this world by rubbing the senses with the sense object, alas, they are running behind the mirage, leaving behind the actual nectar of service to your lotus feet. Akrura then prays, my Lord, I am in a fallen state of consciousness. I am not able to find you. By your mercy, please reveal your actual position to me. Please protect me, my Lord. O son of Vasudev, Akrura prays. I offer my obeisances to your lotus feet from all directions. This is the level of Akrura's prayers. We can't understand Akrura's position, but from his high level of consciousness, the prayers are emanated, and from the quality of his prayers, we can understand how deeply he is devoted to the lotus feet of the Lord. So Akrura is a pure Vaishnava. He is not cruel. He can never be cruel. He can never be heartless. But why are the Brajbasis feeling like that? It's only one reason. In the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, we can see rocks. The rocks exist, but sometimes the wave comes over and covers the rock. And when we see, we don't see the rock. It's not that the rock doesn't exist. It exists, but it's just that the waves have overpowered the rock. And now we can't see the rock. So similarly, it's not that Akrura is hard-hearted. He's very high class. He's a pure Vaishnava. But the waves of love of the heart of the gopis is so much more higher in consciousness and selfless in their approach that the waves of their love have washed the rock of Akrura's consciousness. It seems externally that the rock is not visible, which means it seems like Akrura is hard-hearted. But it's not so. From our perspective, Akrura is a very high-class Vaishnava. But from the perspective of the gopis, whose love is 1,000,000 times higher than Akrura, they feel Akrura is hard-hearted. Akrura feels separation from Krishna, but he also knows Krishna is present in all directions. So he can pacify himself. He feels separation from Krishna, but he can say, my Lord, you're inside of everything, outside of everything. So therefore, there's absolutely no separation. I am not feeling any separation. He feels separation, but he feels, well, Krishna is present in every atom. He's present in every heart. How can there be any separation between Krishna and the living entity? In this way, Akrura pacifies himself on the basis of transcendental knowledge. But the Brajbasis, they have selfless love for Krishna. They don't think Krishna is God. They don't think Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't think Krishna is present in every atom and in the heart of every living being. They know only one Krishna. It's just one Krishna. It's not that he's present in every atom. He's inside of everything, outside of everything. Ishopanishad doesn't work for the gopis because they are completely in love with the threefold bending form of Sri Krishna. There's only one Krishna, they are Gopinath, and that Krishna is leaving. So Akrura, when he feels separation, he can pacify himself by telling, well, there cannot be separation because Krishna is in every atom. But the gopis can't even do that. The residents of Vrindavan, the Brajbasis, can't even do that. They can't pacify themselves because there's only one Krishna, and that Krishna is leaving. He's not inside and outside of everything. And how much separation Krishna feels. How much love Krishna feels from the residents of Vrindavan. Krishna tells the gopis something that he has not told anyone. There are so many devotees inside Vrindavan, outside Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwaraka, in so many places. But Krishna has never folded his palms, fallen at the feet of the devotee and said, Na parayeham niravadhya samyujam swasadhu krityam vibudhayusha piva Yama bhajandur jarageha shrinkhalam samvrichayat tat pratiyatu sadhuna. Krishna has never told any devotee falling at their lotus feet, even in the lifetime of Brahma, I can never reciprocate to the loving service that you have offered, which he told the Brajbasis, especially the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. Krishna is completely conquered by the love of the gopis, especially Srimati Radhika. In the Adi Puran, it is described, Krishna tells Arjuna, Trailokyam prithivim dhanya tatra vrindavana puri tatra tu gopika partha tatra radha bhidha mama. O Arjun, of all the planetary systems, Earth is the most fortunate. On Earth, there are so many places, but Vrindavan is the most fortunate. In Vrindavan, there are so many devotees, but the gopis are the most fortunate. And out of the gopis, the highest peak on the mountain of their devotional heart, Srimati Radharani, is the most fortunate. She's the highest, she's the topmost. Krishna told the gopis in the Srimad Bhagavatam, even in the lifetime of Brahma, I cannot repay you. So may your service be your reciprocation. I can't reciprocate. I don't have anything else to give you except the fact that I have accepted your service. Akrura can't imagine all this. Braja Prem, the love of Vrindavan is so high. It is so high that in comparison to that, Akrura seems to be cruel for the gopis. He's completely, fully realized, but the Brajbasis are far beyond that state. They are offering prayers not to Krishna. Akrura is offering prayers to Krishna. But Brajbasis are not offering prayers to Krishna. They are offering prayers to Narayana for the protection of Krishna. When Mother Yashoda saw innumerable universes in the mouth of Krishna, she embraced Krishna to the chest and prayed, "Oh Narayan, oh Vishnu, by your illusory potency, Maya, I am attached to this son of mine. Please protect my son. Why are you troubling me by troubling my son like this? What is all this in his mouth? If it is some past life reaction, let me get the consequence, but please protect my child." Krishna can't understand that, oh mother, you are praying to my partial expansion for my protection. This is inconceivable. This never happens anywhere. Everywhere Krishna is worshipped, Krishna is prayed to for the personal protection of the devotee. But in Vrindavan, everyone is praying to Vishnu for the protection of Krishna. Then there could be a question. When there was the forest fire, why were the friends of Krishna crying for protection? Krishna, Krishna Mahayogi. Hey Rama Mogha Vikrama. Oh Krishna, oh Balaram, please protect us. Why were they praying for their personal protection? If they know Krishna is not God, why would they do that? Well, the inner reason is the friends of Krishna are praying, "Oh Krishna, you better protect us. If something happens to us, you will not have friends to play with tomorrow. Krishna, we understand that you love to play with your friends. So if something happens to us, whom will you play with? You will cry sitting under a kadamba tree. We know you, O Krishna. You need friends. You can't be without friends. You can't be alone. So you better protect your play by protecting us. If you protect us and keep us alive, then you keep alive your sports." So this is the love of the Brajbasis. Our acharyas describe Akrura, he was doing his service. But there was one thing that went wrong. And that is, he should have pacified the gopis. He should have spoken some kind words to the Brajbasis. Krishna sent a letter to Uddhav, or sent a letter through Uddhav to the gopis and told them to meditate. You think about Krishna. He gave the instructions of Bhagavad Gita to the gopis through Uddhava. And the gopis got angry. Even at Kurukshetra, when Krishna met the gopis, he said, "Oh, you should meditate. You should meditate on me." And the gopis got angry. It is almost like, you know, the cows eat grass. I'm giving a Gita Nagari example. We know the cows eat grass. So that's the food for the cows. Now imagine if a human being comes and we say, well, there's some grass for you. Automatically the human being is going to get angry because that's the food for the cows and not for the humans. So the gopis are saying, meditating on Krishna, well, that's good for the dhyanis and the yogis, but not for the bhaktas like us. We are like the human beings, and the other jnanis are like the cows. And the art of meditation on Krishna is like feeding grass to them. You feed them grass, but don't feed us grass. You don't tell us what you tell them. You tell them to meditate on you, that's fine. You feed the grass to the cows, the jnanis. You tell them to meditate on you. But when we are coming, you don't give us this advice to meditate on you. You just come and meet us, Krishna. So that's the level of the gopis. They can't settle. They can't hear anything. They want Krishna. They want their Shyam Sundar. So here was Akrura taking Krishna away without pacifying the gopis, without knowing their love, without knowing how devastated they were feeling. That was almost like not fully respecting their position of love. It is described Akrura had come to Vrindavan by the mercy of the gopis. Nobody else can come to Braja. It is Brinda Devi who arranges who's going to come and who's not going to come. So Akrura comes by the blessings of the gopis, and to leave without properly respecting their position of devotion is to commit aparadha. So although Akrura is very high class, it is described, Akrura got implicated into Vaishnava aparadha because of not pacifying the gopis according to proper etiquette. And as a result of which, in the future, we can see in the Krishna book, there is a Shamantaka Mani conspiracy, a conspiracy of a very nice touchstone, the theft of a touchstone. And Akrura has nothing to do with that, but he gets implicated in that conspiracy as the fruit of the Vaishnava aparadha, the offense to the gopis of Braj, because he came there by their blessings, but he didn't pacify them, understanding their position. So now the gopis are praying as Akrura is mounting on his chariot, and Krishna is also climbing on the chariot. The gopis are praying. Krishna has become so hard-hearted that he's leaving the embrace of Mother Yashoda and climbing onto the chariot of this hard-hearted Akrura. Birds of the same feather flock together. If Akrura is hard-hearted, he doesn't have etiquette. Krishna should not associate with him. Associating with him, Krishna has become hard-hearted. So in this verse, the gopis are calling Krishna hard-hearted. It's not they're not reprimanding Krishna. They are not criticizing Krishna. They know Krishna is not hard-hearted. The gopis know that Krishna is not cruel. So many times Krishna's heart has melted. Krishna's heart is melted and he has come and helped the gopis. The gopis sing, Braja Janarthihan Veera Yoshitam. That, oh Krishna, you take away all our problems. When Indra was pouring rain for 7 days and 7 nights, it was Krishna who held Giriraj Govardhan. Why? Because his heart was melting, seeing the pain in the lives of other Brajbasis. The gopis know, they pray even in chapter 35, they pray that Krishna, you give joy to those who are distressed. When someone in Vrindavan is sad, Krishna would go to that person and cut jokes and make them laugh. That's how kind Krishna is. Our acharyas describe that when Krishna plays the flute, sometimes there's a leaf that falls off a tree and it lands on Krishna's forearm. And when Krishna removes the leaf, the imprint of the leaf is found on Krishna's forearm. That's how soft Krishna's skin is. The understanding is, if that's how soft Krishna's skin is, how soft is Krishna's face? And if that's how soft Krishna's face is, how soft is Krishna's heart? Krishna is the most soft-hearted person ever. Because you are what you eat. What does Krishna eat? He eats only butter. So Krishna is butter-hearted. Krishna is butter-hearted. And that too, Krishna eats butter with sugar. So he's the actual sweetheart. Everyone else is the perverted reflection of sweetheart. Krishna is the actual sweetheart. His heart is soft heart and sweetheart. So the gopis know that Krishna is very soft-hearted. But now here they're calling Krishna hard-hearted. Why? Because it's not that Krishna is hard-hearted. The gopis are saying that when someone carries a lot of weight, they end up sharing that weight with others. Like a book distributor, for example, he carries a bag full of books. He wants to give out those books and reduce his weight. So here the gopis are saying, Akrura has got to Vrindavan so much cruelty that he is sharing his cruelty around. He's coming to Braja and spreading his cruelty around. Waves of his cruel nature are washing the hearts of the Brajbasis. The gopis are saying there's no one on our side. Absolutely no one on our side. Krishna is the softest heart possible. And Akrura has carried the weight of his cruelty and is now distributing it. And his customer is Krishna. So Krishna has got the cruelty from Akrura. So in this verse, the translation starts by the hard-hearted Krishna. So the gopis know Krishna is not hard-hearted, but they are in their love. They are saying this cruelty is coming from Akrura and he's sharing it with our Krishna. And the soft-hearted person has become so hard-hearted by taking that cruelty from Akrura that he has left behind the soft-hearted association of Braja and stepped onto the chariot of Akrura only to go to the hard-hearted city of Mathura, where the king is Kamsa. Then the gopis look at the gopas around. They say, well, Krishna has become cruel. What's wrong with the gopas? What happened to Sridham, Sudam, Vasudam, Kinkini, Mandali Bhadra, Madhumangal, Subal, Arjun, Lavanga, Vijay, Ujjwal, all these friends of Krishna, gopas? We can see in the verse that we read. We can see in the verse, the gopis are saying, Anardra dhi esha samastito ratham. Back to the Sanskrit. Anardra dhi. Anardra dhi means hard-hearted person. Who esha? They're not even calling Krishna. They're saying, this guy, this hard-hearted guy. Now we have to understand, this is the love of the gopis which is coming out in the form of their chastisement and the reprimanding nature. They're saying this hard-hearted Krishna. They're not even calling Krishna. He said, this Esha, this hard-hearted person has mounted. Samastito ratham. He has mounted on the chariot. And tvarayanti durmadaha, gopaha. And at the same time, what happened to the gopas? Oh, they're also durmada. The gopis are saying even the gopas, the friends of Krishna, have become bewildered and mad. They are not understanding what they're doing. They're being cruel to themselves and they don't know about it. How foolish. Why? Because they are just excited to be with Krishna. They're thinking it's like the village boys. They've always been in the village and now they're fascinated to go to a city to see the skyscrapers and to see all the palaces. The gopis are thinking, these gopas, they are helping Krishna. They are encouraging Krishna. They're telling Krishna, climb onto the chariot. You go to Mathura, we are coming with you. But the gopis' hearts are bleeding that these gopas don't understand that they're going to the city with Krishna, but when they come back, they're going to be all alone. And that's when reality will hit them hard, like a thunderbolt. When Indra's thunderbolt hit Braja, Krishna was there holding, protecting. But this thunderbolt of separation, they will have to bear it by themselves. The gopis are thinking, don't let Krishna go to Mathura. Stop him right now. Instead of encouraging for your personal desire, all these gopas are durmadaha. The word used in Sanskrit in this verse is bewildered, foolish, less intelligent. That these gopas don't understand that they're bringing in misfortune in their life by encouraging Krishna to go to Mathura. They're going to go with Krishna one way, but when they come back, Krishna's not going to come back with them. They have to come back all on their own. There's a saying in Vrindavan that a gopa doesn't mature until the age of 84, which means he remains immature all his life. There's a saying, a gopa doesn't mature until the age of 84, which means if he lives that long, we'll see. But all his life, he's going to act like a gopa because they're always soft and playful. So the gopis are saying there's nothing surprising. These gopas are just living by that saying. So Krishna has become cruel because Akrura has shared his cruelty with Krishna. The gopas have become bewildered. Now what's wrong with the elders, the older wisdom class of Vrindavan? Why are they not doing anything? Why are they just standing and watching this drama? Why are they letting all this happen? Look at the grandfathers. Look at Nanda Maharaj's father, Parjanya Maharaj, Krishna's grandfather, Nanda Baba's father. He's standing and just watching the scene. Nanda Maharaj, his brothers, Upananda Maharaj and all the other brothers, they're just watching instead of trying to jump into the scene and stop this injustice. They just hands tied and they're just watching as if they're a Paramatma. You see, the Paramatma doesn't jump out and help us. Whether we are burning in fire or drowning in water, he's a neutral spectator. He's just inside. He's watching, but he doesn't do anything. So the gopis are taunting with sarcasm. I think all of them have become Paramatmas because they're watching everything and they know what's happening, but they're not taking any step of action. That's as far as the male members. What about the female members? The senior most wise person in Vraja is Purnamasi Devi, also called as Yogamaya Shakti. The gopis are speaking. What's wrong with her? And as they're speaking, Purnamasi Devi, who is the mother of Sandipani Muni and the grandmother of Madhumangal, Krishna's best friend, Purnamasi Devi, she comes from her bhajan kutir, which is just outside Nandagram. That's the place where she does bhajan. The gopis are all talking and Purnamasi Devi comes out of her bhajan and she meets Vrinda Devi there. Now Vrinda Devi, called as Tulsi Maharani, she's Brinda, she's a Sakhi, she's a gopi in Goloka Vrindavan. From Vaikuntha up to this world, she's called as Tulsi. Tasyaravinda nayanasya padaravindam kinjalka mishra tulasi makaranda vayu. In the 15th chapter of the 3rd canto Srimad Bhagavatam, when description of Vaikuntha is given, the name mentioned for Brinda is Tulsi. Namo namaha tulasi Krishna prayasi namo namaha. But in Vrindavan, she is Vrinda Devi. She's a gopi. She is the goddess, the forest goddess. So Purnamasi Devi, the senior most member, female member, she meets with Vrinda Devi. They both have similar services. There's so much love between both of them. Purnamasi Devi is older and Vrinda Devi is young, but both do the same service of bringing Radha and Krishna together. Now I would request all of you to pay complete attention. This is brilliant poetry by Srila Rupa Goswami. Purnamasi Devi talks to Vrinda Devi and she mentions, look, Vrinda, the darkness of the night is ending. This is the night before Krishna's departure. So Akrura has come to Braj. The point is Akrura has come to Braj one night and there's announcement that next day Krishna will leave. So this is that night description. Purnamasi Devi is talking to Vrinda Devi one night before Krishna's departure out of Vrindavan. So Purnamasi Devi tells Vrinda Devi, look, Vrinda, the darkness of the night is ending. The moon is looking like a lion. But however, the moon is looking like a lion who's scared and who's ran away to hide in a den of the western horizon. Usually lions never get scared. Why is this metaphor used? That the moon is like a lion who's scared and running for his life. Because the metaphor continues. Purnamasi Devi explains, Rupa Goswami writes, that the sun is like a Sharabha beast. Now in Sanskrit, the Sharabha beast is actually a very famous poetic figure. It's a person who has 4 heads and 8 legs and 8 eyes and can eat up lions and can jump over valleys. It's like a poetic feature, a poetic picture. A Sharabha, it's called a Sharabha beast. It's a lion-eating, elephant-eating beast with 4 heads and 8 eyes and 8 legs and jumping over valleys. So Purnamasi Devi explains that the sun is like a Sharabha beast and the moon is like a lion. Why is this metaphor used? Because when the sun rises, the moon is going to be eaten up, which means the moon is going to set. And as the moon is going to set and the sun is going to rise, Krishna is going to leave Vrindavan. So instead of comparing the moon to be very soothing and the sun to be the epitome of light and knowledge, here the metaphor is very graphic and dangerous. That the moon is like a lion who is hiding because the Sharaba beast in the form of the sun is chasing the moon. What does that mean? Very soon, the moon is going to set. The lion called the moon is going to be eaten up by the Sharaba beast called as the sun. The gopis don't like the sun today. In fact, the gopis never liked the sun. Why? Because when the sun rises, the moon has to set. And when the moon sets, the Rasa Leela stops. The gopas love the sun and the gopis love the moon. So because when it's sun time, it's the sunrise, the gopas like to play with Krishna all day. And when the moon is rising, they're like, we don't like the moon. The moon should not come up so early. The sun should be there for 24 hours so we can play with Krishna. And the gopis, they want the moon for 24 hours so that they can be and sit and talk and dance and sing with Krishna. So this is the reason why the gopis go to, as headed by Radharani, they go to Surya Kund and pray to the sun god that we give you an extra puja. You please rise 1 hour late tomorrow so that we can dance for 1 more hour. So they don't like the sun anyway. So here Purnamasi Devi and Brinda Devi, as they're speaking, they equate the sun, that rising sun who's going to take Krishna out of Braj, to be a Sharaba beast with 4 heads and 8 eyes and 8 legs, and very ugly graphic description. And the moon to be a lion who's going to be eaten up by that sun, Sharaba beast. Because as the moon is going to be eaten up, the sun is going to rise, the moon is going to set, and Krishna is going to leave Vrindavan. So all these analogies, poetic metaphors are given out to express their mood. Purnamasi Devi was speaking all this. And Brinda Devi has no clue what Purnamasi Devi is speaking about. So she's asking, can you simplify, O Holy Mother, and can you explain what's happening? Because Brinda Devi had not heard about Krishna's departure from Vrindavan. Purnamasi Devi said, didn't you hear that? Brinda Devi said, no. Purnamasi Devi said, yesterday, when Akrura, or this evening when Akrura came, after his chariot landed into Vrindavan, there was a big announcement. The men of Nanda Maharaj, they hit the big drums all over Vrindavan. And they announced that tomorrow Krishna is going to leave. Brinda Devi was shocked because she had not heard this. Brinda Devi said, Krishna is leaving Vrindavan and going where? And Purnamasi Devi, she shared her heart's pain in separation. And she told Brinda Devi everything. Brinda Devi said, oh, Holy Mother, I have one more question. What is this great sound like the roaring coming from the depths of the ocean? What is this? I came here running to you to ask you that. What is this roaring sound coming from the depths of the ocean? It's deafening. Where is this sound coming from? Purnamasi Devi started crying. She said, these are the loud, roaring cries coming from the depths of the oceanic hearts of the Brajbasis. The roaring that you hear are their crying and weeping, and the depth of the ocean that you see are their oceanic hearts. Brinda Devi had never heard this heartbreaking sound before because it was not like normal crying. She couldn't understand. This had never happened in Vrindavan ever before, and it will never happen again. So Brinda Devi could not recognize this sound. She had never, ever, 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 ever imagined such a thunderbolt calamity would strike Krishna Leela. Purnamasi Devi said, when Krishna defeated Keshi and Akrura arrived, all these announcements were made that Krishna will be taken out of Vrindavan. And all Braja Gopis heard this. And now I'm telling you this. Brinda Devi was stunned to hear about what was pronounced by Purnamasi Devi. She fell to the ground silent and still like a piece of stone. Brinda Devi could not believe what she was hearing. There was a very, very long, warm-hearted sigh of pain in separation, seen on the face, coming from the heart of Brinda Devi. What would Brinda Devi do now? She thought of all the services that she's been rendering for Radha and Krishna. The pastimes of Radha and Krishna are the heartbeat of the life of Brinda Devi. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, Twadajnaya pallava pushpa bringa mrigadi vir madhava keli kunja Madhvadi bhirbhanti vibhushyamana vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur prays that, oh, Vrinda Devi, it's by your order that the leaves and the flowers and the bumblebees, the animals all begin to play in the forests of Braj. Oh, Vrinda Devi, it's you who arranges the groves for the pastime, the Leelas of Radha and Krishna. Flowers blossom, fruits fructify by your order. The bees are singing, the male and female deer come and dance, they jump, and the cuckoo birds sing. All of this by your instruction. Oh, Vrinda Devi, says Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you are the one who decorates the kunjas, the forest groves of Radha and Krishna, like as if it's springtime every time for the eternal pastimes and the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. When Purnamasi Devi told Vrinda Devi, Krishna is leaving for Mathura, Vrinda Devi said, for what purpose will I decorate the groves of Braj anymore? Why should I collect the flowers and the fruits and strung the flowers and berries into garlands? Why should I make wines blossom out of season? I feel as if my heart is being pulled out of my body, said Vrinda Devi. If Radha and Krishna are going to be separated, this is the worst calamity to ever hit Vrindavan. Purnamasi Devi said to Vrinda Devi, this roaring sound that we are hearing are the loud cries of the gopis who have been awake all night, crying and roaring in separation, cursing the sun. They don't want the sun to come. They're blessing the moon. They want the moon to live forever so that Akrura never leaves and takes Krishna away. The long hours of night have passed as if it's in one moment, and every moment is passing as if it's a millennium. What's happening to this piteous state of Braja? Vrinda Devi said, alas, 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 seems like Akrura has heard the pastime of the churning of the milk ocean. Purnamasi Devi said, churning of the milk ocean pastime? Why has Akrura heard that? Vrinda Devi said, he is like the mountain. We all know of the churning of the milk ocean. There was a mountain which was used, the Mandara mountain, as the churning rod. And as the mountain churned the ocean, the milk ocean, poison came out and then nectar came out. Vrinda Devi said, I think Akrura has heard of the churning of the milk ocean pastime because he has become the mountain, fallen into the ocean, the milk ocean of Vrindavan. And he is churning this ocean of Braja and agitating everyone single-handedly. Just like that one mountain by his rotation has agitated the whole ocean, the whole milk ocean. One Akrura has become the mountain and his decisions have agitated the whole oceanic existence of Braja. He has extracted the nectar of Krishna and created the poison of the pain of separation. Alas, 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 what has happened to Braja? Purnamasi Devi held the hand of Vrinda Devi and said, oh, my dear daughter, let's go to the gates of Nanda and Yashoda's palace. Let's see what's happening there. And as they came there, they saw Mother Yashoda, the wife of Nanda Maharaj, standing there, completely devastated and disturbed. She has forgotten who she is, where she is, what she's doing. Mother Yashoda, out of her love for Krishna, she offers praise to Nrsimhadev. She ties thread to Krishna's palms and Krishna's wrist, praying to Nrsimhadev. When Krishna goes into the forest in the morning, Mother Yashoda ties, prays to Nrsimhadev and offers a thread on the wrist of Krishna, that may Nrsimhadev protect you of all wild animals, all ghosts, all evil spirits. And Krishna is loving to be pampered and affectionately loved by Mother Yashoda. That Krishna's expansion, Nrsimhadev, is being prayed to by Krishna's mother for Krishna's protection. And every morning, Mother Yashoda would pack fresh lunchbox for Krishna and tell him, please eat on time. Don't eat any fruits. Sometimes there are snakes on the branches of the trees. The fruit could be poisonous. Please don't eat them. But this morning was not a usual morning. She was so stunned. Krishna is on the chariot. She's not offering any prayers to Nrsimhadev. There's no packed prasadam. Very strange. Daily she would make prasadam and she would send in the lunchbox. And at the same time, during the day, she would cook more and send more boxes through her servants and tell Krishna, if you haven't eaten the previous meal, that's forget it. Just forget it. It's got cold. Now take this meal. This is hot and fresh. That Mother Yashoda, who always saw plump, healthy baby Krishna to always be thin and malnutritioned out of her love. She always wanted to feed him more sweets. But today that Mother Yashoda has forgotten everything. She's holding and embracing Krishna and crying. And tears of maternal love are dripping down her cheek, wetting her cheek, falling onto the soft body of Krishna. And that Krishna is coming out of the loving embrace of Mother Yashoda and stepping onto the chariot of Akrura. The gopis can't believe this. This is why they say the hard-hearted Krishna has left the embrace of his mother and gotten onto the chariot of Akrura. And the gopis look around and they find Purnamasi Devi and Vrinda Devi standing at a distance and not doing anything. And the gopis are remembering. They remember long time ago, all the gopis headed by Radharani, they're remembering. When their parents were deciding them to get married to someone else, all the gopis, they went to the Jamuna with a desire to give up their bodies because they didn't want to be touched by any man except Shamsundar, Krishna. One gopi went there and she went and saw other gopis there. And she started asking, why are you here? The gopi said, you tell me, why are you here? And all the gopis asked each other, and there was pin drop silence. Looking at each other's eyes, they could understand. They all had come to the banks of Yamuna to give up their lives for the same reason. They didn't want to be married to anyone else except Krishna. All the arrangements that their parents were making to get married to other gopas in Braj. So all the gopis holding their hands, headed by Sri Radha, they prayed to Yamuna and they said, now we take a vow. We won't be close to anyone except Krishna. May we never have a husband apart from Krishna. May we never have in-laws, mother-in-law and father-in-law except Nanda and Yashoda. Oh, Yamuna, please accept us. Radharani and all the Sakhis marching into the banks of Jamuna. They jumped into the splashing waters of Jamuna to give up their lives. And Yamuna is very, very deep and dark. But Yamuna, with thousands of forms, she checked. She came out and in thousands of forms held Radharani and all the gopis from drowning and got them to the banks. Yamuna took a form in front of the presence of Radharani and all the gopis, and also invoked Purnamasi Devi and Vrinda Devi there. And all three of them, Vrinda Devi, Purnamasi Devi, and Yamuna, they promised, oh Radha, oh gopis of Vrindavan, please don't be afraid. We will keep you always with Krishna. We will never separate you away from Krishna. On that promise, Radharani and the gopis, they kept their life here together. Now when Krishna is getting onto the chariot of Akrura, leaving the embrace of his loving mother and stepping onto the chariot, the gopis are speaking this verse saying, Krishna has become hard-hearted. The friends have become hard-hearted because they're encouraging Krishna to go to Mathura without realizing they have to come back all alone. The elders have become hard-hearted, Nanda and Yashoda. And what to speak of Purnamasi Devi, Vrinda Devi, and Jamuna. They promised us that they will always keep us with Krishna. When we were about to get married to someone else arranged by our parents, we were about to give up our life. They came out. They protected us and said, we promise you, we will always keep you with Krishna. And now the gopis in this verse, they say, they should have let us die then. We could have died then peacefully. What to do? Providence has turned against us. Those who were merciful to us at one point have become cruel. This Akrura has come and spread his cruelty to Krishna, to Krishna's friends, to the older ones like Nanda and Yashoda and Upananda and Parjanya, and even to Purnamasi, Vrinda Devi and Jamuna. The gopis in this verse, they say it's more painful. What is more painful than being neglected by those who helped us fortune and promised us fortune in the past? This is why in this verse, the gopis are saying, certainly, providence has turned against us today. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we discussed one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The verse seems to be 4 lines, but the emotions, the depth of these 4 lines run into generations of crying and weeping in the lives of the Acharyas. It is Srila Prabhupada who very kindly, very mercifully, very compassionately gave the Krishna book to the streets of New York City. People even asked Srila Prabhupada, like, people in New York, are we okay to give this Krishna book? And Prabhupada said, this Krishna book is meant for everyone. In fact, in Chicago, once Srila Prabhupada was giving darshan, and Srila Prabhupada asked one couple, are you reading my book? The male member said, yes, Prabhupada, I'm reading your Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm reading this, I'm reading that. Prabhupada said, okay, very good. And then he asked the man's wife, he said, what about you? She said, Prabhupada, I read only Krishna book. And Prabhupada said, me too. Even I read my Krishna book. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada, who translated all these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, word by word, translation and purport, and also gave them in a very juicy, condensed form in the Krishna book for all of us to relish in the English language. In fact, I feel the reason we all studied English in school, the perfection of that is to read Srila Prabhupada's books and taste this nectar of feeling separation from Krishna. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I started a little late, so I went a little over time. But to all my superiors on the call, I offer my obeisances and gratitude for accepting me today. For whatever I may have blabbered, for all the mistakes, please kindly forgive me. I haven't realized any of these things. I don't claim to be a knower of any of these things. Whatever I'm blabbering is only theory. It is only information, what I've heard. I have not realized. So all of you, please bless me. By the end of this life, maybe one drop of this feeling may touch my heart. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So, Sarvatma Prabhu, would you want to take over from here?
Yes, Prabhu. Can you make me the host back? Because I gave you the privilege.
Sure.
Thank you. That was, I guess, mesmerizing, should be the word. I thank you, and I thank all the devotees who are present. Perhaps you can give us a little bit of insight into, I know from a Gaura Ganadesh Dipika, Akrura is mentioned as Gopinath Simha, that Lord Chaitanya jokingly called Akrura sometimes, but we don't know, I mean, except that he was one of the branches of the Chaitanya tree. We don't know much. Do you have any information about him or any nectar pastimes?
Me neither, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. Now, why did you choose Akrura? Why does Akrura play such significant role, and is not one of the more I would say intimate or closer associates of Krishna, like Uddhava, that is given this particular role? Why is Akrura? Akrura doesn't seem to be one main protagonist. Obviously, he even explained that he doesn't particularly understand the relationship of Krishna and the Brajavasis. So why is Akrura chosen for this particular task?
I heard from my Guru Maharaj that Akrura and Uddhava, they differ in this way, that Akrura always wanted to have darshan of Krishna in Vrindavan. So his desire was fulfilled, because actual Vrindavan means feeling separation from Krishna. So he always wanted to see Krishna and the actual level of the Brajbasi's consciousness. It was his desire to see Krishna in Vrindavan. This is why as soon as he sees the steps of Krishna's lotus feet, he falls from his chariot crying and weeping. So Akrura was called for that. And it's quite an interesting role. Although he's a pure devotee of Krishna, he's doing his service as a minister of Kamsa, teaching all of us this lesson that we could be in our material responsibilities serving Kamsas in our own field, but we should always feel separation, the desire to see Krishna in Braj. So Akrura was given that privilege. However, Uddhava, it is described that Vrishninam pravaro mantri Krishnasya daita sakha sakshat brihaspati shishyo Uddhava buddhi sattama. Uddhava was given the higher service of pacifying the gopis, that which Akrura did not do, which Akrura should have done. What he left behind, that service was given to Uddhava, that you go and pacify. And it was very interesting that Uddhava was given the service of pacifying the gopis. So he went in to teach the gopis, but he ended up learning from them because he had learned all the fields of knowledge. But there was one field that he had not learned. That is Braja Prem, which even his guru had not learned, Brihaspati. And therefore he had to come as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and learn it from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these were some things I've heard from my Guru Maharaj. You're on mute, Prabhuji.
I can only say that this is an incredible evening that we just spent with you, learning unsuspected things about Krishna consciousness and to the highest level, to the highest degree. And we are in your debt for this. So, and as far as superiors and inferiors, as you very humbly like to request blessings of your superiors, I'm not sure that chronology has anything to do with this. I feel like very humble by your depth of knowledge and the depth of your realization. So I think that after hearing you speak, I think it's pretty obvious that you should be the one blessing us to get a drop of what you seem to have. Maybe not an ocean, but a swimming pool full, for sure. Because you're swimming in it, so must be the water surrounding you. So usually we take questions from the audience, but I don't think I think we're going to leave it as is and keep suspense. I hope that you will do a repeat performance and you will accept another invitation to continue with this incredible string of nectar that you just you open the floods of nectar, and now you can't just close it up and go home. You have to just give us another chance to hear some more. Would that be okay, Prabhu?
Your instruction is always on my head. Whenever you instruct me, I will be there.
Very good. So thank you very much to everybody. This we can do. If you want, all of you want to unmute yourself and personally thank our speaker, Amarendra Prabhu, for his delivery and enlightening presentation, please do so now. We are going to close this event very soon. So please unmute yourselves and express your feelings.
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if the option to unmute is abled, Prabhuji.
Okay. And I am a dinosaur. I can only handle a wheelbarrow without getting confused. So I don't know how to unmute anybody. Well, let's say take this, our gratefulness, our gratitude as a representative of what everybody else is feeling, and please bless us, and I'll be in touch and we will do this again.
Thank you so much. Apurva Prabhu, Kamalini Mataji, Bhubhrit Prabhu, Sahadev Prabhu, and all the wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. Good night.